Welcome to the United Cast. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for Man United and football. I'm your host Matthew, and today I'm talking about Manchester United's 5-0 win at home in the Champions League against RB Leipzig. Look, I wasn't particularly in the mood to do this podcast tonight in the first half of the game, really, but I can't not talk about that performance and us beating Leipzig 5-0. That's not just something I can leave and not do necessarily. Just wasn't in a particularly great mood, but I'm obviously in a much better mood at the moment, and yeah, 5-0. Brilliant. It's so funny as well because before I get into anything regarding the game, it's so funny because you look at our group, Leipzig and PSG, and everybody called it the group of death. Now, granted, we've had 2 games out of 6. We could lose the other 4. We could. It might happen. We don't know. We have beaten PSG away, though, in Leipzig at home. So we're off to a damn good start. And, of course, we've scored 7 goals and let in 1 in the Champions League. Brilliant stuff tonight. I'm so proud of Marcus Rashford right now. Not only is he helping, starving children and sorting out these petitions for all of that, and sort of trying to he shouldn't have to be fighting the government for what's going on, but he seemingly has to at the moment for that. But it's clearly not distracting him from football, because if you're distracted by something outside of football, like Maguire was with the Greece thing, and we saw the results of that against Tottenham, you don't go and score a hat-trick against Leipzig if you're distracted from football. That just doesn't happen. Plus, he scored against PSG. He played relatively well against Chelsea. Almost scored 2 goals against Chelsea. He had a couple of shots and whatever. So, yeah, 22 years old. I think he's going to be 23 soon. His birthday is some point in October. I'm not exactly sure when. But 22, 23 years old, scoring hat-tricks in European football, helping starving children, fighting the government who don't want to help starving children, which is just bizarre and strange. That's a different topic for a different time. But very, very happy for the guys tonight, particularly of Rashford. And I'm not just happy with Rashford's performance. I'm just proud of him overall. I think his mum would be really proud of him, because he's told the story before about how his mum was struggling to bring him up, and not because of problems with him, but financial difficulties and whatnot, which is understandable. Parents go through that sort of thing, but I'm really proud of him at the moment. It could have been a scenario, where he does this thing against the government and tries to help these children and gets distracted from football and starts playing really badly. But as of tonight, he scored a hat-trick. So what else am I supposed to say about that? So super happy for him. That's great. I thought Fred was phenomenal tonight. I think he's become, out of the holding midfield players, so McTominay, Matic, Fred, because I think you could argue that Bruno, Pogba and Van der Beek are the more attacking ones, really. I think Fred's the best out of those 3, out of Fred, McTominay and Matic. I think McTominay and Matic are good for maybe different reasons, but Fred was fantastic tonight. He put in a couple of good passes. I think he for at least 2 of the goals, I can't quite remember all of them off the top of my head, but for at least 2 of the goals, I think the first one and the 4th one, either the 4th or the 5th goal, made a tackle, passed to a player, that player passed to, Greenwood for the first goal, and Rashford for he scored the last 2 anyway, and, no, sorry, not the last 2, the second to last 2, it was, Rashford scored 2, then Martial scored, and then Rashford scored right at the end. So either the last goal or the third to last goal, Fred made a tackle that led to the ball being passed to either straight to Rashford or to Pogba, who then Pogba passed to Greenwood. He scored a goal. A couple of contentions about offside. I don't think there was any offside goals necessarily, apart from the Cavani one, which was understandable. It was ruled out straight away. It was, quite obvious. I thought De Gea played really, really well tonight. I thought he was great. I will say, I think in the first half, apart from the goal, I don't think we were very good. We seem to be this team at the moment. Now, this isn't necessarily a problem, but it could become a problem. In games like this where we seem to turn up in the last 30 minutes. Now, okay, if you're going to turn up in the last 30 minutes and score 3 or 4 goals, that's fine. but you need to be cautious about the rest of the game. Speaking of caution, I don't think Leipzig were very good at all tonight. They had a couple of good chances, but I never really felt like they were going to score. Never. Now, I don't really know anything about this team. I didn't know who played for them or anything. Apparently that Upamecano, who's in their defence, he plays for them because we were linked with him, because we've been linked with every footballer who's ever played football. Not necessarily a problem with him. I think he was fine from what I noticed of him anyway, which I didn't really notice him necessarily. I don't really pay attention to the other players when I'm watching these games. I pay attention to our team and focus on how our team's doing. But in attack, I don't think Leipzig did very much, apart from that one point blank range. I think it was a header from one of their players. But never really felt like they were a threat. Now, I'm not saying that takes away anything from us scoring 5 goals. I think we wrote those goals very, very well, and I'm really, really happy about those, so that's great. I just never felt like... Sorry, as I was saying, I thought that they just didn't really seem like much of a threat, which I had no idea what to expect from them necessarily, so my expectations were very in the middle. I either thought they could show up and not do very much, or kind of overrun us, and it turns out we overran them. So that was kind of interesting. De Gea played well, thought the defence was good from what they did. This diamond formation, I don't particularly like it. There's not a lot of width there, because traditionally Man United have played with, whether it's a 4-4-2, 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-5-1 or 5-3 whatever, we've traditionally played with essentially 4 wide players, because you've got the left back, the right midfielder, and then the left midfielder, or the left winger or right winger or whatever. With this, you basically got a defensive midfield player, so a holding player. Then you've got 2 central midfield players with Fred and Pogba in this situation, a number 10, and then 2 strikers. I mean, it worked today. We won 5-0, so we'll see how that goes going forward. I think it's really a case of, Van der Beek couldn't really get in the team. We've got a lot of midfielders. Like, you look at that midfield for the starting one, there's no Bruno starting, there's no McTominay starting, there's no who's the other 2? Yeah, those are the 2 that weren't really starting. Mata as well, of course. So yeah, we have got a lot of midfield players, and there's been obviously the debate for quite some time about the middle midfield players. Which we've gone for 2 sort of holding players, and then 1 in the number 10 slot. Whether one of those holding midfield players is more of a box to box, it's usually been 3 players in the midfield, 2 wide, 1 up front, 4 at the back. I don't know. It just doesn't give us a lot of width, and I understand. We've got James, Palestri, Rashford. I know Lingard's in the team, but I would never pick him, so I'm not going to really name him here necessarily. Just like with Pereira as well, I wouldn't really name him necessarily. You got James, Palestri. I know that other player whose name I've forgotten is joining us in January, but he's not actually here yet. You got Rashford, Greenwood sort of is a winger. I think Greenwood's a number 9. Really, I've wanted him to play up front for quite some time and sort of challenge Martial for the spot up front. But yeah, we've got a limited amount of wingers, and we haven't really got a proper right winger other than maybe Palestri, but he's young, we don't know too much about him. He's not really been in the team yet per se. Left wingers, we got Rashford and James pretty much. I would just rotate those 2 to be honest, or I would start Rashford, and then once the defence is a bit slowed down or whatever, you'd bring James on perhaps. That's just what I would do. And then on the right wing, I'd probably play Greenwood, and then maybe Mata occasionally. Mata you got to be a bit wary of, because obviously he's not quite so young as he used to be. But anyway, yeah, just I don't really particularly like it. If it works and if we win games, then great. That's ultimately what it's there for. It doesn't really matter to me if it works necessarily, but I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see if that's part of our future, because we've tried this sort of, I think it's 5-3-2. We've tried 4-2-3-1. Now we've tried essentially 4-1-2-1-2, which is what it was today. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Ollie makes of that, because ultimately we can say whatever we want, but he's the one that makes these decisions. So Yeah, very, very good stuff. I haven't talked about the goals yet. Greenwood, again, good tackle from Fred, past to past to Pogba, and then passed it through to what was his name? To Greenwood. Good left foot finish, and it's been a little bit of time since Greenwood scored. It hasn't been 6 months or a year or something, but it's been a month or so, a few weeks maybe, around that sort of period. So good to see him score that. Both of the Rashford's goals were pretty much, clean through on goal. Those were both good finishes. The second one, the Martial penalty was fairly standard, and then of course Rashford. I think that the fifth goal is probably either the fifth goal or the first one is probably the best one. Because with the fifth goal, you've got I think Martial was working the ball down the left-hand side, sort of passed it through, it sort of fumbled its way to Rashford, and then he came out with a really good finish. Greenwood with the first goal. I think the Greenwood goal is possibly better just because, Fred wins the ball, passes it to Pogba, the creative player. He passes it through to Greenwood, the striker, and we finished it off from there. So, I don't know, I liked both goals anyway. I liked all the goals, I liked all the game. So, that's pretty much that. But let's take a quick break. We'll go into some housekeeping, and then we will get into player ratings, where we got some very positive things to talk about. So I will see you for that in a minute.
Hey there, I'm Aaron Holman, host of Eye to Eye, a weekly podcast talk show all about passion.
I have this passion and this fire within me that burns brighter than the fire around me.
Flow.
With performing, there's always a story to tell, whether it's my own or not.
And creativity.
I go, he's more than cute, he's creative.
All with an LGBT twist. Make sure to check out Eye to Eye, that's EYE, number 2, letter I. And rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in today.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are Killer Fun. We explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week.
For as long as people have been communicating, they have been talking about who did what to whom, and is that socially acceptable?
Because the boundaries of society,
crime,
and entertainment have always gone hand in hand.
The more salacious,
or weird,
the better. From books and movies
to television shows and games,
we look at how life and art imitate and inform one another.
And we can't get together and not laugh. So let's face it, there's going to be laughing.
Killer Fun is available anywhere you listen to podcasts, so join us.
If you'd like to get started with a domain name and a website today, just click on the link in the show notes and that will take you over to Koalu to get started. They also have a live support chat system that you can use, which is in the bottom right hand corner. So get started with a new website and domain name today with Koalu. Hey everybody, if you would like to get the ad-free versions of all of our podcasts and support Entertainment Talk along the way, all you need to do is head over to patreon.com/entertainment talk. Sign up either as a creator or as a Patreon, there's no difference there. That's just the option for either becoming a creator now or just staying as a patron for the moment. And then all you need to do is support us at the $1 level tier. That will get you access to all of the ad-free podcasts that we've done in the past, and get you access to all the ad-free podcasts in that month as well. So it's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also become a patron at the $3 level tier. That gets you access to ad-free podcasts and allows you to redeem a review of a TV show or a film of entirely your choice. That's one per month for either a TV show or a film review, which is at the $3 level tier. As always, thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, what do we have for you here? The Walking Dead UK podcast still continuing for The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1 Episode 4. We'll be back next week for Season 1 Episode 5 on Wednesdays, but a very, very good episode this week. Really enjoying what they're doing so far with World Beyond. That's available on Amazon Prime in the UK if you want to go and watch that. Gaming Talk this week, a few things to talk about. The Uncharted film update. We saw photos of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, fully dressed up, and a sort of teaser sort of photo of Mark Wahlberg as Sully for the film. It is a prequel film as well, so keep that in mind. But we got some updates for that. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed only by a couple of weeks until December 10th, even though the game went gold, so we discussed that. And Assassin's Creed, the of course Ubisoft for video game series, is going to be getting a live action TV series adaptation for Netflix, so that's pretty exciting. So we talked about that. Fear the Walking Dead still continuing, season 6 episode 3, so you can check that out if you want to. Let's Play Sundays for Iron Man VR. Very, very good VR game. Really, really enjoyed that. If you want my review of the game, it's also available on the website and on the podcast services. So if you search for that, the Iron Man VR review, or look in our video game reviews section, you should be able to find that. Man United 0-0 with Chelsea podcast, talked about that. Crash Bandicoot 4 review with the subtitle Love and Respect, because that's very much what I felt from the game, so really, really enjoyed that. Star Trek still continuing, we're up to season 3 episode 2, season 3 episode 3 will be on Friday, and that's pretty much everything we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. Alright, team lineups. David De Gea, I'll give him, you know, I thought that save was really, really good and really quite important. I'm going to give him a 9. I thought it was great, didn't make any mistakes, didn't let any goals in, had a couple of really good saves. So, yeah, overall a very good performance. Wan-Bissaka I'm going to give a 9 to as well. I thought it was great. He's always doing those sliding tackles, isn't he? He's called the Spider or something among like Man United fans or whatever. Just because of how he can sort of slide in there and get the ball. But nonetheless, a very, very good performance again from Wan-Bissaka. I thought he was great. Lindelof, Maguire, they did what they needed to do. I'm just still not particularly a fan of that partnership. Couple of dodgy bits of play from Maguire, nothing too terrible. Certainly not in terms of what we've seen from him recently. I'll give them both a 7. They were both fine and did their job. Nothing particularly too much to praise, nothing to really criticise necessarily, so I'll give them a 7. Luke Shaw, I'll give him an 8. I thought it was pretty good. I thought he did a couple of good passes. Almost scored in the first half, didn't he? That shot from the edge of the box, which unfortunately got blocked. Corners has got to be one of the most difficult ways to score in football, just because even if the ball gets knocked outside to someone who can shoot, there's pretty much all of the other opposition's team in the box, so you gotta like figure a way out to kick the ball around them or through them or above them, or you can't kick it below them. So yeah, but nonetheless very good effort from him. Matic, I'll give him a 7 as well. I thought it was good, nothing too special, nothing too terrible either. I thought he was great as well. I'm going to cheat on this podcast because I can't decide my man in the match between Fred and Rashford, because although Rashford didn't do a massive amount performance-wise, he did score a hat-trick and you can't overlook that. But I thought Fred was just phenomenal, and that's 3 really good games in a row. The Chelsea game, PSG game, and this game against Leipzig. I do think he's our best centre midfield / centre defensive midfield player. Which again doesn't include Pogba, Van der Beek or Bruno. I think he's better than Matic and McTominay. But again, Matic, McTominay, Fred are all good at different things, so it's good to have that variety anyway. But see, I want to give Rashford and Fred my man of the match, but you can't really give it to 2, so I don't know what to do. I'll make up my mind in a minute. But Fred I thought was just amazing, just wins the ball really well, won the ball that led to a goal, which is pretty important, so I thought that was great. Pogba, I thought Pogba had a good first 25 minutes of the game and then just sort of stopped. He's a very, I don't know, when Pogba really turns up, he is absolutely world class. But it's all like with Pogba. He either turns up and gives you an absolute world class performance like he did in the first 25 minutes, or he just doesn't really do anything and looks like he doesn't even want to be at the club. Now I'm not trying to start any rumours about like, oh, he wants to leave or whatever. He did just recently do the contract extension, so he's not really going to be going anywhere anytime soon necessarily. But Pogba's a weird one for me, where I can't tell if he wants to be here or not, because when he turns up and he plays really, really well, I'm like, oh yeah, he wants to be here and have a future here at Manchester United. But then, like, there's certain other games where he's just really, really lazy and just doesn't really do anything, and it's just, I don't know, it's very, very, very strange. But I thought he was good for 25 minutes and then just sort of stopped, so that is what that is. Van der Beek, good to see him start today for Manchester United. I thought that was very, very good. Didn't do a whole lot necessarily. I didn't give Pogba a rating, did I? I'll give him. I'll give Pogba a 9 for the first 25 minutes, and then give him a 6 for the rest. I know I'll give him a 7. Then I guess it's sort of somewhere in the middle. He's a very difficult player to give player ratings to sometimes because he's just sort of completely one way or completely the other way. You never really get sort of a middle performance from Pogba. It's quite strange. Van der Beek thought he was fairly good today. They brought him off later, obviously, for Bruno, I think it was. So kind of strange there. I don't know. There's something strange going on about the way that Ollie is choosing to use Van der Beek or Van der Beek, which is a bit strange. But I thought he did. Thought he did all right. I thought he did pretty good. Again, I really want to see a 4-2-3-1 with Fred next to Van der Beek and then Bruno in the number 10 slot. We haven't had that yet. We had 2 out of the 3. Which was a good start, but I still don't think that Pogba, Bruno, and Van der Beek can play in the same team necessarily. But then if one of them goes on the bench, you've got a very good player to bring off the bench. So there's that. Van der Beek, I'll give a 7-2. He was fine. Greenwood scored, which was great. I thought that was really good. He didn't do a ton else, so I'll give him a 7, I suppose. Martial scored the penalty, which was good. My problem with Martial is he just doesn't really... We're trying to use him like he's this pure number 9 striker, and he just isn't. Lukaku left the club, Martial was the number 11, we switched him to the number 9 pretty much because there was nobody else. We didn't know a ton about Greenwood. We had Rashford, who's pretty much a winger. But yeah, we've tried to sort of turn Martial from this winger into an out-and-out striker, and it's just not really worked a whole lot. I know every now and then he scores a really good goal or he makes a good run through in on goal, but we've tried to make him like our Aguero or like Lewandowski type of player, and he's just not that. He's more of like a Marco Reus in a way, or more of like a... I don't know, he's just not an out-and-out striker, but I'll give him a... what would I give Martial? I don't know. The 7? It was fine, I guess. So, yeah. But, again, my joint man of the match, I don't know what to do between Rashford and Fred. Rashford for the hat-trick and Fred for the performance and for the half assist, I guess, because he passed to Pogba and then he passed to Greenwood. So, yeah, I'm giving them both 10s anyway. Fred and Rashford, thought they were great, and again, very proud of what Marcus Rashford is just doing with his life, really, scoring goals, doing the government's job. He's doing 2 full-time jobs, but he's only getting paid for 1, so, and I'm sure he doesn't mind. So, but that's great as well. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this game. What did you think? Who's your man of the match? Who did you decide between, Rashford or Fred, or was it somebody else? Was it maybe the goalkeeper, or I don't know, any other player that played on the pitch tonight? What did you think of Leipzig? What do you think of our form? Speaking of form, if we're going to play like this in the Champions League and, beat PSG, play really well, beat Leipzig 5-0 and beat them quite badly as well, or beat them quite well rather, we need to take this form into the Premier League, because currently, let me just click on tables, we're currently 15th in the Premier League, and there's been 5 games gone. I know that we've got a game in hand and everything, but we're already quite far behind Everton and Liverpool and Aston Villa and Leicester and Leeds and everybody else. But yeah, we got to take this Champions League form into the Premier League, and we got to go and beat Arsenal on Sunday, and we got to go and just push on from here. We were in a relatively good run of form, Newcastle 4-1, and then PSG 2-1, and then unfortunately 0-0 against Chelsea, where we just got a bit unlucky, and then 5-0 here against Leipzig. So we're in a good little run of form, which is good. We need to push that on into the Premier League and start climbing that Premier League table. So yeah, anyway, if you do want to let me know those thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, or maybe concerns about Manchester United or anything related to Entertainment Talk, Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes as well. You can currently find everything that we're doing on entertainmenttalk.org. TV, video games, films, not so much films these days, TV, video games, films, and Manchester United podcasts, of course. If you'd like to support the podcast and Entertainment Talk, if you like what you hear from us here, and you'd like to hear more of it and support the podcast and Entertainment Talk, that would really be quite good. And there's a lot of different options for you, the first of which is Patreon. We have the $1 and $3 level tiers for review, ad-free podcast and instant podcast options, Amazon affiliate link if you're starting that Christmas shopping early, or buying Halloween decorations, or just treating yourself, or buying a PlayStation 5, whatever it is that you're maybe buying off Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. iTunes feeds, if you search for Entertainment Talk on your favourite podcast platform, rate, review, subscribe if you can do so. If we are not on your favourite podcast platform for some reason, please let us know which podcast platform that is, and we will look into getting the content put onto there. Word of mouth, you can simply tell people that you know about all the content on entertainmenttalk.org and the iTunes feeds through word of mouth. Social media, you can do the same thing, but through Facebook and Twitter, or in different Facebook groups. If you want your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news, geektown.co.uk is your go-to for that. Geektown.co.uk, I said that a little bit too quickly. Geektown.co.uk for your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news, run by David, of course, my good friend and co-host. Geektown Radio on Tuesdays, this week's episode is available to be listened to if you want to check that out after this one, or something else. You can do that as well, of course. Geektown on iTunes, podcast services, and geektown.co.uk if you want to see the fun and interesting streams from Bex daily. She is streaming daily at the moment over on Twitch. If you search for Trista Bytes, that's Trista Bytes. Go and follow her, subscribe to her over there, and also look out for Let's Play Sundays. Thank you all very much for listening, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.